Okay, now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So what was the last statement we have written? What was the last statement we have written?
At least 6,000 in bond A.
At least 6,000.
In bond A, he wants the
He wants the amount invested in bond A, correct? I hope everyone has written this statement, is it right? Or anyone wants me to write previous statement?
Sir, could
Correct.
you repeat the statement?
I hope everyone has written this question. Is it right until he wants the amount invested in bond A?
no, sir. At least rupees 6,000 in bond A. He wants the. Till there it is done.
So I will just continue from there. He wants just write the previous step so that everyone knows that it is the continuation. Okay, I'm just writing just the previous statement after some consideration. So you may have already written this. Just check and write. I have already written this. I'm just writing the previous statement. He decides to invest at most and at least 1,000. Right. So here it stopped. This is the statement. Wants the invested be at least equal to the amount invested tell omelette, tell people for this. So is it done? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so has everyone written this statement? Done.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what was the first statement we have written? First statement in this question. What was the first question in this first statement in this section?
After some consideration, he
First,
decided to invest amount.
yes. So that is later on I wrote that particular statement. But what was the first statement in this question? First statement. A retired person wants to invest.
Rupees 30,000 in bond.
First and the foremost step is always remember that we have to decide what is X1 and X2. X1 is here we are going to consider X1 as the total amount invested in bond A, and X2 as total amount invested on bond. Okay. It is given that a total of 30,000 So can you think of equation here that total of 30,000 rupees is being invested? Is it right? Now, if the total is 30,000, can we formulate an equation here? Total amount invested in bond A is X1 and total amount invested in bond X2. Total amount invested is 30,000. Can we formulate an equation for this?
X1 plus X2 less than or equal to 30,000.
Less than or equal to 30,000. Why less than or equal to? Because it is a constraint, and remember that constraint will have a sign of either greater than or lesser than equal to. Correct? Here the sign is lesser than or equal to because a person may be willing to invest exactly 30,000 or less than 30,000 also, but not more than that. Why? Because that person may not be willing to. All right, so this is the first X1 plus X2 smaller than or equal to 30,000. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay, so the next statement is bond A gives 7% interest. How do we write this? Bond A gives 7%. 7%. How do we write this equation? Bond A gives 7%. And bond B 10%. Therefore, total profit Z is equal to how much? What should be the total profit here? That is equal to how much? I write it this way: 0.07x1 plus 0.10x2. 7% of total investment on bond, 10% investment, so 10% of the total amount invested on bond. Correct? Is it right? Can we write it this way?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next, what is the next step? 12,000 rupees invested. Invested. How do we write this?
And at least 6,000 in bond A.
Correct. That is right. So for first, at most 12,000.
X2 less than or equal to 12,000.
Small change has to be done in whatever equation you told. Modify, is it smaller than or?
Greater than equal to.
Yes, it has to be greater than or equal to 12,000 because max at least most means what? No,
Maximum. Right.
no.
Maximum.
Sorry, you are right. You are right. So it should have been smaller than or equal. At most means what? It is maximum. Because maximum of 12,000 rupees and get one. Is it right? Everyone agrees to this. At most means the maximum. That person doesn't want to invest more in this. Maximum is 12,000. It can be lesser than that also. Is there any doubt here? You can number the equations anyways. If you want, you can number this profit equation as 2, not an issue. And you can number it as not a problem. But since this is not a constraint, the profit equation, is not a constraint equation. That is the reason I have not numbered it. Okay, so what is the next equation? At least rupees 1,000 should be invested in bond A. What should be the next equation?
X1 greater than or equal to 6,000.
X1 should be greater than or equal. Okay, next equation. Are you seeing all these constraints here? There are different types of constraints mentioned by that person who is ready to invest. Is it right? So with this available constraints, many constraints are there. Is it right? So definitely, this is a very practical situation wherein a person will be having particular savings. Lot of constraints will be put up by the person. Because when there is a savings, definitely those savings are to be utilized for their family commitments, possibly for their children's marriage, or can be a birthday party of the child, or school education, college education. They may be planning for different reasons. They may want to invest a certain amount in different type of program. Correct? So under this scenario, what happens is these constraints are very much practically possible. 12,000 is the maximum limit because out of 30,000, 12,000 maybe 12,000 may be required to celebrate some functions or something like that after a few years. 5 years or 6 years. So that is the reason this person may be willing to invest 12,000 rupees in a particular bond for a certain amount of period. Okay, so what should be the next equation? At least how much? At least 1,000 rupees to be invested. Okay, so what should be the equation you said? X1.
Greater than or equal to 6,000.
Because at least is 6,000. Amount invested. That is equal to 6,000. This can be greater than that. Next, the next equation. He wants the amount invested in bond A to be at least equal to the amount invested in bond B. So X1 should be at least equal to amount invested in bond B. Amount invested in bond A must be at least equal to the amount invested in bond B. How can you formulate the equation? That means let us assume that if I am investing 100 rupees in FD, first FD, then I am supposed to invest 100 rupees also in the second FD, fixed deposit. Correct? In that case, what would be the equation? Amount invested. At least equal to bond B. One must be one minus correct. Everyone agrees to this statement. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So everyone agrees to this.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Or is there any doubts? If there is any doubts, you can ask. Okay, so only thing is that now we have to start summarizing. So how many equations are possible here?
Four.
Correct. Four constraints are possible. All right, so finally, LPP, linear program problem. What is the objective? Can anyone tell what is the objective? So objective here. Objective is to maximize return. Is that right? And what is that equation?
Yes, sir.
What is the equation?
0.07 x1
0.0 plus
x1 plus 0.10 x2.
correct. So this, if we have to realize this return, then there are different constraints. What are those constraints? First, the first constraint,
x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 30,000.
total investment. Total investment. Next, what is the next constraint?
x2 less than or equal to 12,000.
X1,
x1 greater than or equal to 6,000.
1. Next,
x1 greater than or equal to x2.
yes. Or we can write it this way also. X1 minus X2 is greater than or equal to 0. Finally, we have X1 and X2. The money that we are going to invest, either it will be 0 or it can be in some positive number, but it cannot be a negative number. That is the reason the last one. Last question. Okay, anyone wants me to go back to previous screen, explain any of the concept? Usually in the organization, if you have to see, there will be different type of ERPs or supply chain management. ERPs, enterprise plan, correct? So what these systems do, they collect all these constraints. Okay, they collect all these constraints, and what they do is they give you a different type of output. What is the maximum returns that can be obtained? Can easily obtain. Is that right? So as a consultant, uh, we can actually enter all these constraints that particular system, and let's say a particular and the outcome would be the total value of X1 is bond A, the total amount to be invested in bond A, and the total amount to be invested in bond B. So this we can easily identify using a ERP system. ERP system actually decides, helps us in making the total number of total amount that is invested in bond A and bond B. Okay. All right. This is done. Okay. Now, did I tell anything about the group assignment in my previous class? Group assignment as well as Hampton assignment. In the yesterday's class, did I mention anything like that?
No, sir.
So, group assignment. So all the group have submitted project topic. which they're supposed to be doing. Now, what I want is a list of activities. List of activities to be considered. In the project. Okay. Now, next is duration can be allotted. Duration can be allotted to each activity. Now, description of the activity has to be clear. For example, rice process project. So let us assume that in the project on the rice processing. In that case, what will happen is one of the activity here may be purchasing of the raw material. Purchasing of the raw material has to be very much specific to this particular project. What raw materials you are going to purchase? Correct. So that has to be very clearly mentioned as the activity. Okay. Something that is expected. So what I'm expecting is the list of activities. It has to be very clear. Why I'm asking this is because if I directly ask every group to submit the list of activities towards the end of the semester, then what will happen is they will submit randomly some activities without any clarity of what each of the activity stands for. Correct. So that is the reason right now I'm asking the list of activities that we're considering in the project, which is very first and foremost thing. Correct. So if there is any corrections to be done, so you can directly ask the group members to make that changes. All right. So rice processing project. Let us assume that rice processing project is there. So activity description must be purchase raw material. So I don't expect this. It has to be very much clear. Purchase of rice. Okay. And cleaning agents. APMs or suppliers. So here it is very much clear that you are trying to purchase these things from the APMs suppliers. Right? Rather than telling that you are just purchasing the raw materials, you can just be specific. Okay, that is something which is expected from. And second thing is that minimum of 10 activities. Minimum 10 activities has to be there in the project. Okay, any doubts here? Any doubts in this? Am I? Yes.
Sir,
No, sir.
sir, we have to name the suppliers also.
Suppliers, naming the suppliers is not required, but here what raw material you are going to purchase, that is very much important, and from whom you are going to purchase, that has to be very much clear. Okay. So that when we are looking at the duration of the activity, I can exactly know, at least guess, so that is actually practical or not. So for that reason, it has to be clear as to what is the source of purchase. Not naming is not required, but at least what is the source? At least are they suppliers or are they retailers or any other government agencies? That has to be clearly mentioned.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I'm going for the next screen. Now, the last date for submitting the, only I'm asking each of the group to submit the list of activities. Nothing else. 19th of this, the list of activities along with their duration has to be submitted to the last year. Now, the submission must be Word document, Word document submitted to last years by 19/4/30. Is that right? Now, the document must include the project title, project, give some project description, okay, as to what you are trying to do. Paragraph of 4 to 6 lines, 4 to 6 lines. Uh, so even the group number has to be included, right? So list of activities in the description and the duration of each of the activity. Correct. So I'm not asking you the calculation part. Calculation is done only towards the end of the semester. But now I'm asking each of the group to submit the particular activities. List of activities. Is it clear? So class here,
Yes, sir.
yeah, Sujita and Sachin.
Okay.
Yes, so see that you just have to, your role is only to collect the list of activities.
Okay, sir.
No need of running behind any of the, whichever group submits the list of activities, they're supposed to collect it and give it. Is that fine? So 4:30, if all the groups are submitting the list of activities, by 5 o'clock on 19th, mail it to me.
Okay, sir.
All right. From other group members, is there any doubts?
No, sir.
All right. One last thing before we conclude the class. Handwritten assignment. Handwritten assignment, at least 6 questions have to be solved. Have to be solved from each module. Now the mode of submission, how you have solved, everything you know because you have already done this in the previous. The same mode of writing the assignment, you can just follow the same mode. Okay. So, save for this. Now, whatever portion portion completed until 14th of August can be considered in this particular and written as an. Rest of the things, everything remains the same like what we did in the previous semester. But only thing is that let us assume that questions you have selected. So mention the question and then answer. Okay. Now answer has to be substantially content or the description has to be included by because I say that only 6 questions have to be solved means not that only by 6 lines. If it is a theory question, see that you are answering it properly. Keeping the perception that writing for your examination, you are writing for 10 marks. How much would you write? In the same way, considering that you are writing the theory questions for 10 marks, considering the same way you have to write the answers for the assignment. Okay? Short answers are not accepted for the theory question. It has to be at least 1 page.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Okay. Anyways, I'm just going to put this message in the WhatsApp. Okay. So any doubts? Anyone has any doubts? Okay, we will continue in the next class.
Sir, voice is breaking, sir. We will continue in next class on Monday, sir.
Quit ಮಾಡ್ಪುನ class.
Quit mal play.